If you're saying that I want to target X and I'm going to be A, and A and X conflict, this is the time to figure that out. You either have to change what bait you want to be to attract this client, or change the fish you want to catch. But you're going to create friction in every sales process forever if you don't figure this out. So we get down to who they are, how they think and feel, and what they need. We give you a brand positioning statement you can use. We really highlight your unique value proposition. We outline where you're strong and where you're weak against your top competitors.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedlick, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I have my most amazing guest, Zack. Zack, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Well, my name is Zack Lemear. I'm a co-owner of Pivot Creative. It's a full-service branding and marketing agency. I've been in the business of marketing, design, branding, sales business for about 24 years. This is my 10th business, 7 of which did not do fantastic. It was either, wrong place, wrong time, poor execution, bad idea. But that's what you learn. That's how you grow, and that's how you become good at this. And I've had 3 very successful ones, this being the most successful, the most legitimate business. We've got 8 full-time employees. I've got a partner. We're doing great work for people out there.
I love it. So let's kind of backtrack. How did you choose marketing is your thing?
Well, I've always been attracted to art, always, my whole life. And I didn't decide to go to college until the last quarter of the last year of high school. And I'm the first person in my family to go. So I didn't have a lot of people pushing me. So I was like, well, I love art. I've always loved art, but I'm also not stupid. I'm not going to be a painter and actually make money. Not unless, you make money when you're dead, when you're an artist, basically, right? Like, unless you're like, some super famous lucky person. So I was like, well, graphic design really appealed to me because I love computers, I love tech, and I was playing around with, honestly, like my friend's Microsoft. I didn't even have a computer. My friend's Microsoft Paint one day, and I was stuck in there, just obsessed, pixel by pixel for 6 hours. And I'm like, okay, this is my life. This is what I love. And it turned into a bigger, more broader thing. But I did go to school for graphic design, and then I went back to school for a master's in IT. And I like to smush the creative and the tech together because nobody usually can do that and communicate it properly. So I felt like that would give me a leg up. And also, I didn't think there was going to be any kind of uh, stop to people needing ads or marketing. So I figured this was safe, and that's where I got it.
I love it. So talk to me about this current business. What is the kind of the key thing that makes it different or more interesting for you?
Okay. Well, this business is, first of all, most people have a business, but they really have a job. This is a legitimate business. This is an S corp. We have full-time W-2 employees. This is a partnership. It's very heavily documented, regimented, legal, the whole thing. It's a great model. But also, I leaned more because I was tired of doing the execution. I've been a designer, I've been a coder, I've done all the things in between, I've sat in all the seats, and I was like, there's no shortage of people doing that work, but there is a shortage of people knowing how to strategize, plan, and do what is correct in what order, and that's what I was strongest in. So I created a business that was just that, and so instead of competing with every other agency, I was an asset. But then I had a problem because I didn't like throwing my strategies to people and then having them choose where it gets executed because they could have made a poor choice. And so I kept crossing paths with Pivot. Um, and we were getting kind of the same clients. And I just felt like, it doesn't make sense for us to be acquiring the same client twice, managing the same client twice, if we're all going to be working on the same project anyway. We should probably be the same business. And you know, a year and a half later, lots of lawyers, lots of legalese, we merged. And this is again because I was a perfect Lego brick fit into their agency because nobody in most agencies will do the hard work for branding and strategy and really understanding the foundational elements of the business. So that's one piece. And the 2 things that make us really different than most other agencies is one, we understand business. First and foremost, we are business people. Secondly, we will make you all the pretty pictures that make sense, but we're not in the business of giving you a list of what you want of your favorite things. We're in the business of creating you a tool that makes you money so that you can build a business. And most other marketing agencies will start off with, give me your favorite colors. What's the logos that you like? Show me all your favorite things. What do you want this to? No one ever asks them, who do you target and what do they care about? Which is all that matters, because nobody cares about what you do. They only care about what you do for them. And so we've what the other piece, the other big piece that differentiates us is that we productized our service. Again, understanding business. Um, so we have something called the Focus 360. And the Focus 360 is built of three major pieces: the brand compass, the brand position, and the brand story. And it's all the elements that any creative or marketing person in the world needs to do their best work. And it's the things that are drudgery. It's a lot of work. It's like 8 hours of meetings and then another 8 to 10 hours of work. And it's all words and it's not pretty pictures. And it's not the things that we get taught in art school. Um, but it is super important and critical, and it really makes the ROI go much further. So I'm a firm believer that, most marketing agencies will give you a map, and a map's great, except it shows you every direction at the same time. It's not
Okay,
very
so talk to
helpful.
me talk to me about the three elements. Like break it down a little bit. What do you mean by a compass and what does that entail?
Sure. Okay. Well, if you get dropped in the woods with a map, you could stay lost forever. But if you get dropped in the woods with a compass, you'll find your way out because north is always north. That's the premise. So, brand compass is your purpose, your vision, your mission, your core values, and statements that pair with them. We really want to ID your business goals and then pair those with marketing goals to achieve them. Now, the key secret sauce here is it's not just tell us what you want. It's asking the right questions and challenging every answer, because we want to make sure, don't tell me trust and integrity. Show me how that echoes in every essence of every piece of your business. Show me how these core values are strong enough and unflappable enough to make hiring and firing decisions against. Show me how this is going to attract the top talent and retain them. Show me that. And then we'll talk about them being your core values. Show me, and making sure that your vision is very broad and it's locked in Lego brick wise with the mission. A lot of coaches that I find will start with the mission and then they'll go to the vision. That doesn't make any sense. You can't go to war if you don't know what you're fighting for. You've got a big army, but what are you going to do? Right. And so they do it in reverse. And then when you get to the next piece, you've got to start over, but they're not locked in. And you've got to really figure out the purpose. So now this is unflappable direction that you can hire against, fire against. You can attract top leadership. It can help you make better business decisions easier, right? Like if you've got four to six core values that really exemplify everything you want this business to be and everything you want everyone in your business to exemplify, then it's a no-brainer. Things become easier. It takes this friction out of everything. So that's brain compass. That's the way you get out of the woods no matter what. And these are not tied to our agency. These are fundamental truth sciences that you can bring to any person that's working with your creative or marketing, and they will be so elated because we white label the service into most other agencies because they don't have it. They ask a few extra questions. They'll say, "Hey, what's your favorite color?" And then people will come to you and say, "I like blue, make me a business." None of that's how this works. So the brand position, now we know where you stand as a company, unflappable, right? We also challenge those core values to make sure they're not your personal core beliefs, because those can be influenced. And these have to be unflappable. These have to be rock solid, like 10 commandments, rock solid. So then the brand position is now what's making you unique. What's your unique value proposition? And who are your target audiences, and what's your competitive landscape look like? And we dig deep into the SWOT analysis. We'll do a Porter's Five Forces analysis, which is like a market analysis of what the suppliers have power for. So like, for example, one of my businesses was a CBD business, and the supplier power would have been too high if I only had one place I was manufacturing my product from. If they change anything, I'm now forced to change, or I cannot sell my product. Too much risk. So it really helps you identify things and make better business decisions. But the key really here is we will build you a brand positioning statement, and we'll dig deep into these personas. We don't just tell you who they are. Well, it's this person at this age and they like this thing. That's kind of great. But we want to know how they think and feel. So we pair them with psychological archetypes, Carl Jung based science, and there's 12. And everybody has a mix of these archetypes, and it really defines who they are, what they need from you, what matters to them most, how they make decisions, what other archetypes they conflict with. So, for example, there's the hero, there's the ruler, there's the magician, there's the everyman. Some of these do not align. And so if you're saying that I want to target X and I'm going to be and A and X conflict, this is the time to figure that out. You either have to change what bait you want to be to attract this client, or change the fish you want to catch. But you're going to create friction in every sales process forever if you don't figure this out. So we get down to who they are, how they think and feel, and what they need. We give you a brand positioning statement you can use. We really highlight your unique value proposition. We outline where you're strong and where you're weak against your top competitors, against key competing factors, and we give you some analysis on the industry and the competitive landscape. Now you've got your compass. You know exactly where you stand as a company. You know where you stand against everyone else. Now let's talk about how to communicate that without being repetitive to the people that need you most. Brand story. So now we start talking about your tone of voice for consistency. We start looking into your archetypes for your brand's personality. And again, we figure out, is there synergy or is there conflict? Let's figure that out now so that you're not wasting a lot of money on marketing and throwing it away. Um, and then after that, we give you building blocks for messaging that can be infinitely remixable, because it's really about empathy statements and authority statements and what's their trigger, what's their problem, who's the hero of the story, and it's never you. Most people go and they start the conversation with, look how cool I am, look how many times I've done this, and look how many awards I've won. We're only hardwired to survive or thrive. That's it. Hardwired as science. And so if you're competing with that, they're also hardwired to ignore you, because we're going to save mental calories. It's subconscious. So we base all of this on science and best practices and just the history of how humanity works. And then we'll build you a script that you can use right away, and we'll build you a one-liner you can use right away. Now you've got, this is exactly who we are and where we stand, rock solid, unflappable. This is where we are in the market. This is who we need to talk to and what matters to them most emotionally and every other way. And this is how to communicate that in a way that matters the most to them. And none of this is about you. And that's where it should start. And this right here, the Focus 360, this is valuable to people in the mergers and acquisition space. This is valuable to every business in the world. This is valuable to your sales team. Imagine your sales team being all centered around the same messaging instead of their interpretation of what they think you do. That's hurting your brand. You're not building a brand, you're building a concept of a brand. And every time they go out there and they sell something that's not possible, it's because they didn't know. So that's the gist.
Love it. So who would you say is your ideal client right now?
The ideal client, we love working with retail e-commerce. We love working with, because we do a lot of digital marketing. We do a lot of social media, a lot of stuff like that. We love working with the mergers and acquisitions because they make $1 million mistakes when they do this, because usually both companies don't have a grasp of what their brand is. And the biggest misnomer here in the world is that you are in control of your brand and that a brand is your logo. Wrong and wrong. Your brand is not your logo, and you are not in control of your brand. Have you ever heard of, you understand how nicknames work? Can you
Mhm.
pick your own nickname?
No.
Never. That's branding. That's branding. You show up consistently over time, the same way, whether that's good or bad, and that becomes your nickname. But who gives you the nickname? The people that view you. So the only power you have is your control over the way that they perceive you, because you show up consistently. And you can't show up consistently if you don't know who you are and who wants you. So the M&A groups, they'll buy a business, and those, neither business knows what brand that they have, but the customers that need them do. And so when you pull those customers and you shoehorn them into another place, they lose about 25% to attrition. And that's $1 million mistake that they made that could have been mitigated for 10 grand. And they make huge mistakes because they just don't understand. And again, we understand business. There's not a lot of marketing companies going after the M&A space because they just don't understand how it works. Um, and we do a lot of MSPs, a lot of managed service providers, and so that's in the bookkeeping, accounting, IT space. People that have a lot of competition and they don't know how to stand out. Just like marketing, right? How do we stand out? Well, first we productized our service, and we now became an asset to everyone that used to be a competitor.
Very cool. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before we do that, we're going to take a bit of a break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Okay, we have so many, but one of them we're going to go through is Nashua Nutrition. When I first met them, they are a diet food company, a multi-million-dollar national company that basically sells diet candy, diet food for different bariatric levels, very high protein things. Um, but they're trying to create new revenue streams, and they had no idea how to do anything on Amazon. Nothing. So they went from, I don't know how this works, to now they make $2 million a year just in Amazon sales because we were able to put them in a place where we understood how to make this work, how to make that function internally in their warehouse, in their marketing, and where we can capture the leads over and over by putting different things in the boxes and different. There's so many things that we did. We were able to just there generate additional $2 million of revenue in a completely untapped market based on just making sure they're in the right place at the right time. There's another one, Castleton Banquet and Event Center, and this one's again, it's a pretty big, very well known event center in New Hampshire. But the thing is that they were being seen more as antiquated, old-fashioned, because there was a lot of new places, new golf courses, new wineries that were opening up and doing these events that had more modern things. And so they needed the world to know that they're not that they're modern, so we had to go and do a very deep dive and understand, okay, well, what makes you different than anyone else here? First of all, they're on the waterfront. No one can compete with that. So we rebranded them in many ways. We rebranded their whole website. We made we digitized a lot of their processes. So they were doing everything by hand, taking in meetings, taking tours all by hand, and had a handwritten book. We put them into a calendar system that now every single person was connected to. And it was now the website was doing a job for them. We created a logo that really emphasized the water. It's because nobody can compete with the water. And that is one of the things that they can do more than anything else. And then we rebuilt the website to be more affluent, more um, about the story that it's telling, right? And one of the taglines we did is, "You take care of the I do, we'll take care of the to do." Very simple, but it's very emotionally resonant. And that's one of the things that has turned around their business. And now they're able to do private dining, which is another revenue stream they weren't able to do before because they didn't have proper marketing and people didn't know that they had that. And now they can leverage all of their things, and they were able to take some of their investment and revise some of their building and some of their outdoors, and it is a gorgeous place. And now they're competing with these brand new spaces that used to blow them out of the water. So that's two of them.
I love a good success story. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
The easiest way and the best way is probably to go through my LinkedIn. So if you want to just do a quick search for Zachary Lemear, that's ZACHARY LEMEAR. It's an odd spelling of my last name. And you'll find me. And you can just directly connect with me through there, or you can also take a look at our website at pivotcreative.com. We have lots of examples there. We're actually redoing our website now with more examples of this, but you can see definitely Castleton on there as a case study of exactly what it is and how we've made improvements.
I love it. So peeps, we will of course have all of Zach's links in the show notes. Go ahead and scroll down and open up in a new browser because we're not done yet. So Zach, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you're special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I've been drinking that Kool-Aid since I was little, to be honest. I'll tell you a story, actually. This is a good story. So the first time I knew I had a knack for this was when I was 11 years old and I started a lemonade stand. And my mom, who was also an entrepreneur, um, made me buy all the ingredients and all the cups and all the things from her as part of the deal. And then I had to go back out and I set up a table. Now, this is where I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that I was about to do what I'm about to tell you. Um, about an hour in, I had the neighbor's kids running that table. I had another table across the street with the neighbor's kids running that table. And I was upstairs going through all of my junk to make grab bags to scale up. I had no idea I was doing that as an 11-year-old, but that's just how my brain worked. And I was like, oh man, now these kids were stealing from me. I was being robbed blind, but irrelevant. The fact is the matter is that I was able to scale up a lemonade stand at 11 without any prior knowledge of what I was doing because it's just in my blood. So that's and it's just been there forever. I mean, like I said, I've had 10 businesses across multitudes. I had a t-shirt business, I had a CBD business, I had I believe I invented Yelp before Yelp came out. It was called Search and Dine, but we didn't have the mechanisms to keep the databases up to date back then because we didn't have APIs or anything like that that we could pull in. So I was hiring people to go through newspapers and stuff to look for the closings and openings of restaurants. It was madness. So, but um, it's just, I tried to stop. I did. I really did. I took a break for a little while and I got the itch. I couldn't not do it.
That is a fantastic entrepreneurial story. Any last words for our peeps?
Well, if you're thinking about starting a business, just be weary that there's a big difference between a job and a business. You could be building a job for yourself, which is totally acceptable. It's just know what you're getting into so you don't make business decisions and take business risks on a job. Because if you're tied to the result and you can't walk away from the business and it makes money, it's a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just know what you're doing before you make those risks because it could really be something you can't recover from.
Absolutely. Love it. Thank you so much for your time, Zack. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great time.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedlick. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.